This episode of Uzo Talk is proudly brought to you by the Kalimnian Association of New South Wales. Search for the Kalimnian Association of New South Wales on Facebook to find out more. There's no Uzo Talk without a bottle of Uzo, which is why we love the Greek Providore. Get a real taste of the very best produce that Greece has to offer. From olive oils and delicious artisan sweets to unique spirits, earthy herbs and memorable wines. Visit thegreekprovidore.com.au to see their amazing range. The Greek Providore, proud sponsors of the Uzo Talk podcast.
Sound is.
Nikolaki, how good is it, mate? The Paris Olympics are on right now, and we're just soaking it all up. I mean, it's possibly one of Greece's greatest exports to the world, isn't it, the Olympics?
Mate, definitely. He's probably one of many, you know. He's right up there with psychology and mathematics and everything else. But
Democracy,
yeah.
science, all these things.
Exactly. Mate, Olympics, mate, these boys have lost it already. We've already lost it.
We've got two bullheads in the room. They're both returning guests.
I was going to say two heavyweights.
The heavyweights.
And I'm not referring to their academics. No.
Their academic status.
This is man boob heaven.
Yeah.
What do we call it? The Battle of the Bulge?
Right
Here, the three of us.
Yeah.
You're in good nick. Nick's in good nick.
Hold on, which bulge were we talking about?
You clowns.
Upper or lower?
No, wasn't it an actual battle?
There was. It's one of the biggest tank battles in the world, apparently. World War II.
I'm here to be I'm here to be serious about my history.
I know. Gee, the tipper was kicked in already.
He's not even
Drinking.
He's always on a high.
He's drinking cafe.
Well, okay, look, these guys have jumped in early. We've got to reintroduce them. Panayiotis, Diamadis, welcome to Uzo Talk again, mate.
Pleasure as always.
A historian, a teacher, you know, among many things, obviously. So we're very proud to have you back on the show.
Definitely, mate.
And opposite to me now, the great Billy Cotsis. Billy, writer, documentary filmmaker, raconteur. What else do you call him?
Our man Cotsis.
Creator of some of the greatest T-shirts in the Greek world.
Pity I don't fit into any of them. But
What about World Traveller? How many countries have you hit now?
Yeah.
83 with another 2 to come shortly, maybe 3.
Wow, so you'll hit 85 countries before the year's out.
84, 85, 86, yeah.
And
He sounds like this podcast.
Actually, he's seen more countries than we've got episodes.
Yeah, true.
Shit. We better get going, Tom.
That's true. Good way to look at it. But yeah, look, boys, welcome. We're here to talk about the Olympics, and we thought, what better way to celebrate than to get some blokes in who know a little bit about history, you know, have some opinions, and let's get the cafeño vibe happening today, right?
Yeah, get your view, boys, because there's been a lot happening at these Paris Olympics already. And mind you, a lot of good stuff for Australia. Before we get into it, how good's Australia going?
Jessica Fox.
Jessica Fox.
The Matildas this morning.
6-5.
They did win, but it was like
4-2 down.
Yeah,
They won 6-5. But
Come on, they were 5-2 down. They win 6-5. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
but Matildas are pretty
For all the 110
good
paying customers.
team. Yeah.
Jessica Fox.
That's legit. There's 110 spectators.
But how good is Jessica Fox?
Oh, yeah.
Inspiration.
oh my god,
She
was
got a
unbelievable.
silver in London, then she got a bronze in Rio, then she got a bronze in Tokyo, and she just scraped into the final in Paris, and she finally wins the gold after her 4th Olympics.
Yeah.
Mate,
But she's won a few
inspiration.
world championships. She's been
Mate, she's been the world's best for 16 years,
Yeah.
but she can never win the gold.
She's cracked it
she's
now.
only 30. She was born in France. She's French, Jewish, Australian. Like it's just
and English. Her dad was
Yes.
was
She's got an
UK.
English accent, her dad.
yes,
The commentator.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
both
she covers-
Olympians.
Yes,
Both
and an
former
auntie
Olympians.
as well, and a sister who also competes at high levels. So pretty good.
Yeah.
And she comes from good stock.
I want to marry into that family.
Yeah,
I don't think it rubs off quite like that, really.
You'll have talented kids. Hey, philosopher athletes.
Can you imagine?
Well, I got to say, one of the things that I love the most about, when the Olympics roll around is being able to come home, put the TV on and just watch sport, even the most obscure sports that, that you sit there thinking, the sports that my papa would sit there and be like, what is this? Right.
The badminton last night, yes. Got that, yeah.
Or the rhythm gymnastics. Is that
Synchronized
Oh
swimming.
my God! Please don't.
Not that we watch it, but look, I'm like you. I'm a sports fan. Love it. Like even the rugby. How good was a packed
That was
stadium?
amazing.
Like watching the French, looking into the crowd, the French flags, the guys wearing berets in there. Like, mate, it was massive. It was such a buzz watching all that. And they won the gold medal, the French, in the sevens rugby. They beat Fiji, who haven't lost in...
Well, they'd never lost a game at the Olympics. That's the first game they've lost,
Yes.
apparently.
Wait, wasn't this their first Olympics?
Fiji,
You can never tell with this bloke, seriously.
Sip your coffee, dude.
leave the history to us. You're here for the
I'm
commentary.
hysterical.
You are. And the Greeks, we're doing all right. We
They're doing okay.
We lost the basketball, but we got a backstroker, Apostolos Christou, I think, in the semi-final. We got two Greeks in the semi-final.
Two men in the semis. There's
Makrianis.
one of the girls is in the semis as well. I think at the 100 meters.
Yeah. So
By the
doing
time
all
you
right.
hear this, it'll be long. but
You'll know the result.
right now we live in hope.
So let's just predict it. Like our listeners don't really need to know it was recorded on this particular day. True. So congratulations to the Greek basketball team for silver medal.
Christou won the gold, right?
Classic.
I'm hoping the men's water polo cracked the gold.
Yeah.
They took
Well,
the silver in Tokyo, so hopefully the Greek
Exactly.
boys
Well,
can,
they had a good win today too. They beat some
Romania.
Romania.
They beat Romania last
15-7,
night our
wasn't it?
time.
Yeah. Women's went down, but I think that's it. We've got a good hope.
Yeah, but they were playing the Americans who haven't lost anything in how long?
Yeah, so we've got a good chance.
Yeah,
Mate.
they need to break that team up. This whole thing about having an American Civil War, the Reds, Blues, just break it up, man. It's great. Makes it a lot better when the Olympics come
Is it
around.
a bit like Germany? You had West Germany and East
Let's
Germany.
do it, man. Let's advocate for it. Sick of seeing them at the top of the ladder, man. It's just-
Yeah.
Well, on
Good
that
stuff.
point, I mean, there's been so many magic moments over the years when it comes to the Olympics. Growing up watching the games, whether it be, amazing opening ceremonies. The big memory on my part. There's two that stand out for me: lighting of the cauldron in Barcelona. That
The
really,
arrow.
with the arrow.
Let me recreate it.
Yeah.
Who's got some flames?
You never have a bow and
You got
arrow,
insurance
do you?
here?
Speaking of flames, we're having a shot at Cypriot.
Yeah, it's good. It goes. But yeah, that was the first one, and obviously the Greek opening ceremony. Unbelievable.
But you missed one. I shouldn't laugh. I'll try not to laugh.
here we
Remember the Seoul one where the pigeons caught on fire?
I should.
Hey, what do you guys laugh
Just
at?
to let the listeners know, I am not laughing. I'm what they call woke.
Mate, Billy, you are laughing now for people who are listening. So they lit it, and there was literally birds on the rim of of where it was meant to lit up, and all of a sudden, you could see there was at least half a dozen birds. Only two made it out. The rest just.
Jeez.
Barbecue, whatever.
Well, thankfully, they've got a bit of soul.
But
Get to the next
I don't know if
life.
you remember the Australian Olympics too.
Yeah.
When Kathy Freeman lit it, it was starting to
Amazing.
go up, and then
Yes.
it
Yeah, remember?
Yeah.
the cauldron stopped and it
Yep.
shook a bit,
Yep.
and then I think they went to manual procedures, and they
Yeah.
somehow got the cauldron up.
And there was some-
That was almost embarrassing, but pulled
Yeah.
off. But that was a great moment. Kathy
Speaking of
Freeman.
embarrassment,
I haven't
Paris
done
and-
anything.
No. There's one thing I saw straight away was the raising of the Olympic flag.
Oh,
yes.
Fucking bullfeds put it back to
mate.
front.
Okay, I'm glad you said
distress
that.
signal.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I noticed it straight away, and I was like, "Am I?"
It looks a bit odd.
What,
The
yeah,
blue
my mind's
bit
playing
should be up
tricks
the
on
top.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it was
that's
upside
right.
down.
But Tom, we've got to say, let's have a drink. What are we drinking? Remember?
What are we drinking?
Mate, we got to cut it and go to the music.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, look, yeah, we're already well into it. Let's do it. Should
Have we got a
drink?
station sponsor today?
Yes,
We do. We're going to go through all that in a sec. Okay, should we have a drink, Nico?
Let's have a drink.
Στην υγεία μας.
Cheers, boys.
Καλό πρόγραμμα υγεία.
Καλό πρόγραμμα. All right.
Καλό ταξίδι.
Άσπρο πάτο.
Now, Nico.
We're back.
Yes, we are. What do we got?
Ωραίο
Can you
πράγμα.
bring it over? You got.
Yeah.
Can I say, just in terms of those great memories,
Just before we get there, Billy, we're drinking
Keeps cutting you off.
35N Sikwithia. Sorry, mate. We got to thank our famous. We wouldn't have these podcasts if it wasn't for these sponsors. Okay, so let's give them a plug.
no, I think that's a beautiful relationship. It's
It
great.
is.
And
Sikwithia.
it's a very good relationship.
It is, mate. We had this last time.
It's a
We're going
beautiful
back
bottle.
to it again. It's a beautiful bottle. It's Sikwithia. It's the musket and Spinnis version.
No, very nice.
That stuff is fantastic, and we've been banging on about 35N for the last how many episodes?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Look,
And we've got a new batch.
It
to get
is
through.
good stuff.
If my AA group lets me, I might have a couple of drinks.
You should.
Do you want to have one?
You should really try some.
It'll
Honestly,
then be another 1 hour since my last drink.
come on. Have
No, I'm all good, man. I'm all good.
You don't really drink
the
that,
water.
do you?
No.
Yeah, you don't need to, though.
He's good,
Actually,
boy.
very entertaining. You don't need it.
He is good, the boy.
I think when the cops pulled me over for the breath test, it's like, look, I think we need to give you a couple of beers, man. Like,
Classic.
but the filtered water was good. I was going to say the Muhammad Ali moments in '96, the Coca-Cola Games.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Yes, that was. I mean, what a moment! Seeing Muhammad Ali come out, that was. Whew, never going to forget that. That was great, and we would have had another great moment if Diamadis hadn't fallen off his motorcycle.
What do you mean? That's my favourite moment.
We've talked about this.
I love Diamadis. So I'm Italian. So I'm a lesbian, right?
Yeah. A
As
raging one.
You look
It's Panayiotis knows.
fancy.
So he's from my island. So you could go back. So that period when he won the gold, my mate Dominic and I is as Aussie as he gets, but loves the Greek stuff. He spent a bit of time in Greece. We were down at the Olympic Stadium, but outside, and he goes, "Oh, look at this guy. It looks different. Maybe Greek." And it was like the semi-final or whatever. It was the
Okay, it was the 2000 Olympics.
2000
It was the
Olympics.
final. My brother was there.
Semi-final. We're looking at the semi-final,
yeah.
and it's like, oh my God, this is Greek, and it's like this is amazing. And so Dominic and I were already celebrating because it's like, since when does a Greek get this far in? Was it 200 meters, whatever?
200 sprint.
And the fact that he made the final and then won that final.
Well, I watched it, right? I'm thinking, I look at it, I go, who's that white guy? There's 7 black guys and one white guy. I go, shit, he must have fluked to get in. And I look at he was Greek. I go, fuck, we got a Greek in the final.
Yes.
And my brother was there. He was in at the stadium watching.
Really?
And
your bro was.
my brother was there. He reckons. Anyway, watching the race, I stood up, fucking screamed, cheered.
Yeah, of course.
I thought we're going to come last. Here we go. But mate, when
what
he
a
won
finish.
it, my brother reckons the whole stadium. They started playing the Zorba. Everyone stood up. They started dancing. They were singing because it was the underdog.
Yep.
And Australians love a good underdog. Of
course. Yeah.
Right? When you beat everyone, beat the Americans, the Canadians were the favourites. It was huge. It was massive. And the whole crowd were right behind him. They were cheering him on. And when he won, everyone erupted. It was amazing. But that's one of my highlights. We're actually going to finish with that. But Billy, just take over the show, mate.
Should we just cut it out? well, since we started, look, I used to see him train on Lesbos. He was,
really?
Yeah, man. He'd have a police motorcade. Like it was only 2 of them.
Yeah.
With frappe in hand, cigar in the other.
But that was the era.
Was it his
you not.
feel?
But you'd see him. So outside Mytilene City, on the road to the airport, for example. So he'd be running, he'd be training, right? I remember one year we're all at Molivos. I think it was the Capet de Augusto, and he came up. No entourage, there's a couple of people with him or whatever. Everyone's having shots. Everyone's drinking with him. He was such a good boy, and he's just playing with the kids, is taking pictures with everyone. It was a really nice guy. It's just really unfortunate he fell off that bike.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This episode of Uzo Talk is proudly brought to you by the Kalimnian Association of New South Wales. Search for the Kalimnian Association of New South Wales on Facebook to find out more. There's no Uzo Talk without a bottle of Uzo, which is why we love the Greek Providore. Get a real taste of the very best produce that Greece has to offer. From olive oils and delicious artisan sweets to unique spirits, earthy herbs and memorable wines. Visit thegreekprovidore.com.au to see their amazing range. The Greek Providore, proud sponsors of the Uzo Talk podcast.
was a great memory from that perspective. It wasn't a great memory for me though, because I was in Greece, stuck inside a house with the chicken pox. Watching that
really?
race. Yeah, not a good time.
But you know what was funny? Is even a YouTube clip of the Greek commentary.
Mm.
Even the commentator, you needn't believe it.
Yeah.
He was commentating,
Yeah.
and then he goes, he's got a lift, and then all of a sudden he's silent
Yeah.
for about 2 seconds. The guy's in shock.
Yeah.
And he screams out, "Look at Daddies! Look at Daddies!" And he ends up winning. It was the best. One of my favourites.
Yeah, they named a ship after him. I think they
Did they give him an island or something? Or
Lesbos.
yeah, okay,
They took it back after the motorbike incident.
a little island. Yeah, what did he do?
Cotsis is given to motorbikers.
What the fuck did he do? He didn't go to a blood test.
Look, he accidentally missed a few tests.
Okay,
Him and his at the missus at the time,
Yeah.
or I don't know.
She
if
No, it was
was
Funnel.
she
It
was
was Funnel.
yeah.
Funnel, yeah.
Ekaterina Funnel.
Yes.
Yeah, she
they
was
weren't
an
really
elite
tested
athlete.
for anything. They
Who
weren't
won the
guilty.
silver medal in the 100-meter hurdles?
Yes,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
Funnel.
Yes.
I think
Because-
she'll be from Ipiro, mate. She'll be one of our people.
I think she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funnel sounds Ipirotico. 2 syllables.
Well, she is now.
Μιλάτε εσείς στο
have to
ψάξω.
Google it.
Yeah, he's gonna.
But guys, just before we get on, we got to thank our other sponsor who've come on board.
Well, we didn't mention the first one. So the Greek Providore, the drinks are on the Greek Providore. So greekprovidore.com.au. Thank you so much for being on board, guys. You keep us well liquored. So
Crystal is the best. You know, she's like our biggest fan now as well. She loves it when we do episodes because it keeps her entertained while she unpacks all her goods.
yep, and puts all the orders together. You know, she's always listening to the episodes.
Is there a special song she'd like to hear tonight? Is there a...
Whoa, he just touched on that. Can any of you guys sing?
Yeah.
Because I've managed to get people sing on this for the last 2 episodes. So by the end of this episode, you've got to sing a song.
Yeah,
Billy.
Nick's getting this thing going. It's like you've got to sing for your supper on this
So,
podcast.
Billy,
In
you
that
have to sing
case,
for
εγώ
Crystal.
δεν θα φάω τίποτα.
Yeah. I mean, on
I can
Θα μείνω
sing,
νηστικός
I
καλύτερα.
can sing the theme song for Manchester United. That's about it.
Right at the end. Just so we can say we've got a hat-trick of episodes with
It's the
singers.
same as South Sydney's one.
it is. Yeah,
Είστε και οι δύο.
I can also sing Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
And Tom, we can't forget George Mavrokordatos, the Kingsford Smith Transport Team, KST. They've come on board as well
They're
for
back.
a couple of episodes. But amazing people. These guys know they're part of the Greek community. They're very passionate Castellarisian. They help out sporting teams. They're sponsoring us on the podcast. Mate, they're great Greek community people. So let's get supporting these guys that keep on sponsoring us because they bring us these shows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be around, would we, Tom?
That's right.
Without
I mean,
people like that.
I mean, again, you know, we've said it in the other episodes. You would have heard it in the intro as well. I mean, those guys, if you need a bus for a trip, school trips, sports trips, you know, your church trips, whatever it is, get in touch with the guys at KST Transport.
Yeah, I know these guys. Great reputation. Bravo to us.
They're fantastic members of our community.
Oh,
We
yeah.
really
They're
appreciate
good
this.
And Kazi's, gotta love them, man. Like, you know, beautiful people, great islands.
Somebody has to.
You know, they've been here for a long time.
Good businessman.
Bravo to us. Good on
Yeah,
them. Good on
well
them.
done.
Good on 'em.
Absolutely.
Georgie
Congratulations.
boy, you're the man, mate.
Back to the real Ippirotes, the real Greeks, sorry, the Ippirotes.
Here we go. He's looked it
Fun
up.
on
Lesbos?
Κατερίνα Θάνου είναι από την Πρέβεζα.
Yay.
Πρέβεζα.
Καταγωγή σας στην Πρέβεζα.
See, we're pretty fast, us Ipirotes.
There you go. Who'd have thought?
There you go, eh? Panayiotis.
Yeah, it's good.
Hey,
good.
one for
I'm
us.
glad you're helping prop up Albania. That's good.
Yeah, we are. Well, someone's got to carry them. Jesus. Haven't we got 1/3 of our state in Albania as well?
That's a sore point. We'll talk about that another
sore
time.
point. That's another episode.
Well,
Beautiful
okay,
towns up
on
there.
the,
back to the point.
back to the point of memories of the Olympics.
Well, actually, one of our great Olympians was from Vodio Ipiro.
Pyrrhos
Pyrrhos Dimas.
Yeah.
Pyrrhos
Yes.
Dimas.
Mate,
What a legend.
he is a legend.
His coach is actually we're related to him by marriage.
Oh, right. It's
The guy
awesome.
with the moustache.
Corfu has to get a little connection.
I didn't say it.
How many degrees?
σε πρόλαβε.
How many degrees are you removed from Kevin Bacon?
Τώρα κάτι είπες.
What the fuck does that mean, Billy?
You never played 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? 6
No.
degrees of separation. Seriously?
I've heard about
With
this. I've never
Greeks,
played.
with Greeks, I think it's 1 to 2.
Bloody hell, man.
Everyone knows someone.
Τι μου τον κοντοβαλίστε αυτόν τον άνθρωπο.
Eh?
Γιατί μου τον κοντοβαλίστε αυτόν τον άνθρωπο εδώ πέρα. Δεν κατάλαβα.
They needed a cultural diversity person. That's.
I love
I
him.
tick boxes.
I have great chat with Billy. Billy's good. But
The group chat's great.
Let's talk about the opening ceremony. So, what did you think of it? So, again, maybe I'll ask you, Tom. So, have you seen, or have you seen clips?
I
of
watched it live. Interesting approach. I didn't mind it. I thought it was a good opening ceremony, but more than anything, I actually felt a little bit sorry for the the athletes because you always think about how these teams walk into a stadium and you've got the honor of your flag bearers and all that kind of thing. And it didn't really happen. There was no central focus for the event. It looked beautiful from a photos perspective and a video perspective to do it as part of the city in the urban landscape, so to speak. But I just felt like it kind of robbed the athletes of that opportunity to sort of soak it all in. And I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me 100%. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great spectacle, beautiful stuff. I loved the idea of the cauldron as well and all that sort of thing. But I couldn't help but feel a little bit disappointed. And you and I were having a discussion the other day about not being able to see Giannis, for example.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was my big point. Giannis, what an honour it is to be chosen as a flag bearer. And Giannis, I don't know people around the world what footage you got, but the footage we got here, you actually had the Greek sign covering him.
Yeah.
So we didn't get much footage of him. And I think what a rip-off for him. But for me, it was hit and miss. I thought, you know what? I was a bit disappointed initially because I'm a traditionalist. I like athletes walking into a stadium, holding the flag, and then you get really close visuals of all the athletes, and it's all about them. Commentators pick certain athletes and they give you some story. I had a little bit of that, so I was a bit disappointed with that. But then you can imagine French like to do things differently. So bring him on the barge. Again, I wasn't a big fan. It made me laugh with some because some countries got a little dinghy. Some countries had 4 countries were on one boat, and I don't know. It looked a bit all over the shop.
Australia was with the Pesto.
No.
Zambia and
Zimbabwe or something?
Zimbabwe, something like that. So there's a couple of African countries in the front, and then the rest of the boat was the 80-odd Australians.
It might have been Qatar. I felt sorry for them. They had a little boat, a few of them on there. It didn't look right.
The funny thing was everyone was spitting chips. Some people woke up late. So they missed the beginning of the ceremony.
We went for 4 hours.
Yeah, and they were spitting chips and getting onto X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
its new name is X, formerly known as Twitter. It's like
I know
Prince.
Twitter.
Yeah, but they were like, we missed Australia. Where are they? And then they showed up last. Basically, one of the last 3
I think
teams.
because we've got the Olympics coming up.
That's exactly why. US was behind. So it was Australia then US because LA's got the next games and then Brisbane.
Yeah. So maybe let's start with you, Panayiotis. What did you think? Have you had snippets of it? And we'll get to Billy in a
I
sec.
could not be bothered getting up, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you'd be the first person.
When it comes to these events, they always talk about the pageantry. Aren't you into pageantry, mate?
man.
What's going on?
Thought you were. What's going on?
Mate, he likes his beauty sleep.
Look what it's done for him.
It doesn't help much.
He puts his cream on at night. This. Let's face it, buddy.
I thought this was my segment.
This podcast. We do have a face for podcasts.
Imagine if he drank.
I do.
We both have a face.
We've both got great faces for podcasts. Now,
That goes for the 4.
So Panayiotis, tell us.
It missed for me. I agree with you. It was very hit and miss. It was very much designed for the visual, for the video, for the photos.
Mm-hmm.
The best footage of the Greek boat was from the Greek TV.
Yeah.
Somehow they got a different angle, and you could actually see everybody.
Yeah. Well, they had people on there with cameras, which
And
made it better.
the really good stuff was some of the Greek channels had the selfies of the athletes on the boat. And that really gave you a good bit. The vibe of that was at Sydney, that was at every other games in the stadium, that sort of atmosphere. You can't do that on a riverbank stretched over, 8 kilometres?
6 kilometres.
6 kilometres.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's one of those things. It's one of those things where it looks good in the boardroom. We all got together. Hey, let's do something different, something innovative, and it probably looks good. Get them down the river, but it didn't hit it in reality.
No.
In reality, no. I think it would have been better if they all walked into a stadium. Everyone got a good look at them. It's like you've degraded. You got a little boat, you got a bigger boat, you got a shiny boat. It wasn't fair. It wasn't even. I don't think they got the equal opportunity.
I don't think Brisbane will do it.
No, I don't think LA will do it.
Down the Brisbane River.
Why not?
Down South Bank.
Down South Bank, I don't think so.
Yeah, but there was a bit of controversy as well in there because when I saw it for the first time, we're talking about I'm sure everyone's heard of it by now, the Last Supper
please explain.
scene. So there was an image there, but when I first saw it, it looked a bit weird. I didn't get it. What's that to do with France? And because French have got a great culture. They got fashion. They got the food and the clothes and the history and whatever. But when I saw that, I felt it's a bit odd. All right, it was a bit odd having it there, and then this blue guy with his ball bag hanging out. And there was another guy with his testicle hanging out. I go, hey, what's going on here?
How's it hanging? I know.
I didn't know how to take it. To me, it was a bit weird. I thought, okay, maybe I'm a bit old. It's maybe not my generation.
These are the people who eat snails, man, and wagon wheels.
hey, Greeks eat snails too.
You remember that old wagon wheels ad? With the drunken snail.
Eat the wagon wheel.
Eat the wagon wheel.
And you're playing.
Philippe.
You got to be particular generation to remember these ads, these TV ads.
Wagon wheel, Australians too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that created a lot of controversy now. So the more, again, we'll probably get into it a bit more. But what did you notice that at all? Do you have any views on that?
I only heard about it later.
Yeah.
I didn't actually. As I said, I didn't watch the broadcast
because it's gone mad now. So from what I read, there's a couple of sponsors
even the Pope's
now.
gotten involved.
Has he? What did he say?
He wanted a boat to float.
Pope on a boat.
The Pope mobile.
Actually, let's
He
get
wanted
into
a Pope
Billy.
float.
So we've sort of cut
Pope
Billy
boat.
out here.
No, but Billy hogged enough before.
What did you think, Billy?
What did you think,
What
Vasily?
did you think of the opening ceremony, beginning to end?
Look, I'm like Panayiotis. I do need a lot of beauty sleep. So I didn't
Especially
watch
on
it.
planes.
But I actually, the thing is, I wasn't going to be excited by these games, and I was actually thinking, I'm off the Olympics for a while. Still haven't got over the Kindedi incident, obviously. So I thought I'll make a return for the Brisbane games, right? I thought Brisbane's going to be fantastic, even though they're not putting rugby league into it. I think it's going to be great. So I wasn't actually going to pay attention. I've got Calabria coming up. I thought, fuck it. There's no TVs in Calabria. I shouldn't say that in case they're listening. There is one TV. But I actually think the controversy, right or wrong, I think it's actually sparked. All of a sudden I thought, shit, I better get back into this, man. This is great.
So it's drawn you back
and
in.
it's just drew me back in 24 hours. I'm actually loving, like, I'm just going back. I'm looking at some of the things that have been happening, the commentary. Okay, some of it's quite fun. It's the end of days, Jesus is coming. We're all upset. It's like, but then balls hanging
But
out.
I didn't see it. Yeah,
and they weren't even that big.
yeah, they weren't
You're going to
Greek.
show
that's why.
something. Show the whole thing.
Yeah, they weren't Greek, Billy.
They weren't Greek.
They were Greek with a bigger ball.
The only thing that wasn't French about it is that we didn't see the full set.
Exactly. But look, we said something earlier about Marseille, right? Marseille being a Greek city. So, and I think when we were talking through Messenger earlier, it probably would have made a lot more sense to firstly understand if they are going to offend anybody and how that could work. I obviously, kind of like respecting other religions and my own religion as well too. I'm also quite open-minded, so I'd like seeing interpretation. I like arts. I like seeing things being done that's a little bit fun. I do like drag queens. I've been to a few of those shows. They're hilarious. Don't ever get into a fight with a drag queen. That's all I'm saying. I've seen people
somewhere.
Speaking from
I've just
experience,
seen things happen to people. No, not me, but I've just seen some things, man. You got to try and do it in a tasteful way. But maybe in some respects that was their way of paying tribute to the ancient Greeks, the pagan rituals. The god of wine. Wine obviously being introduced into France by the ancient Greeks through Marseille, through Niki, and those places. Marseille being the biggest Greek city in ancient times beyond, the natural Greek borders, beyond Syracuse, I guess. So, maybe it was a slapstick attempt to do it. Maybe the French have got a sense of humour, which I'd never realised. So, these are the people, like I said, they eat snails, they speak French, they're really weird.
But to their credit, they've actually come back and they've apologised and all that sort of stuff. So maybe they do realise a step over the mark, or is it maybe because they're losing sponsorship and they don't want to make the Olympics about?
Definitely playing it. But if they were going to be paying homage to the ancients, they can at least get it right. Like the Olympic Games were tributes to Apollo and to Zeus, not to Dionysus. So if you're going to do that,
Were there Dionysian games?
no,
Because there were other games
Dionysian
as
mysteries.
well. Okay, all right.
What was that? Dionysian?
Dionysian mysteries.
What's
So
that?
the rituals around the worship of Dionysos were a secret. Only initiates were allowed to know what was going on. apart from lots of wine drinking and dancing and wildfires in the middle of nowhere, that's all we know. There are no details of the rituals because they were deliberately never written down. Yeah. They were mysteries. Mysterio.
Really?
Mysterio
Prama.
Literally. Whereas the Olympics were in honor of Zeus and Apollon. Apollon had the Pythian Games.
The Pythian, that's the one.
Yeah, that's why they were every 4 years.
Yes.
Were the Corinthian as well?
Nemean, outside Corinth, Nemea. Again, coming back to the wine.
There were games in Delphi as well.
The Isthmian Games outside Corinth, Nemea, the Delphi or the Pythian Games, and the Olympics.
We love games, the Greeks. Eh?
We do. But the Romans sort of took that as well and ran with it, obviously.
Of course.
That's how you appease the, your populace. You put days
those
of
games.
on.
And again, if you wanted to, if they did want to seriously pay tribute to the ancients, they would have had a cultural Olympics as well.
Now, that's something we discussed, actually.
Cultural Olympics.
Yeah, the ancient Olympic Games had competitions for singing, for poetry, for all sorts of cultural, alongside the sprinting,
Really?
The
wrestling,
they were the
etc.
ones who were fully clothed. The athletes were the ones who were naked.
Yeah, we know why.
Why?
Because a girl won one year.
Really? Is that why?
That's why. The original Olympic Games, 776, was one sprint down the stadium in full battle armour.
Yeah.
So you're sprinting carrying like 30 kilos of bronze and leather. Mm-hmm. Don't you get started.
I wasn't. Thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it. It's a G-rated show.
What's wrong with that?
Greek-rated.
Say it. Didn't secret.
Hang on. And then one year they do the race. And this is don't forget the ancient Olympic Games were a religious festival. Mm-hmm. All right, they were in honor of Zeus and Apollon, but especially Zeus. So and there were the Hieron Games, which happened straight after the Olympics. The Olympics were for boys only. The girls had their separate one in honor of Hera. So a girl snuck in, gets dressed as a guy in battle gear with the helmet on, you can't tell,
and she won
and wins the race. And when she takes the helmet off, they realize it's a woman.
Wow!
Sacrilege.
Girl germs.
They can't do anything about it. But from then on, you all run in your birthday suits.
You're kidding? Wow.
There you
so
go.
How did that work with wrestling?
Well,
in the
very carefully. Very carefully.
Did we talk about Borat earlier?
We did.
Before we went on.
We're going to do an episode with you guys in a mankini. That's what we're going to do.
You wish.
We'll recreate the Borat scene. The one in the bedroom with the wrestling.
Absolutely not.
With us, Matt.
Absolutely not.
Count me in.
But look, it's important to reiterate the fact that the reason why we're having this discussion, obviously, for those who maybe live under a rock, the Olympics are obviously a part of our cultural heritage, part of our Greek heritage. It's where the games started in ancient Olympia. They were reborn again in 1896. Baron Pierre de Coubertin in
before that,
this version.
There was another Epiroti.
Okay.
There were several games beforehand.
Was there really?
Zapia, yeah.
Actually, yes.
Evangelos Zappas.
1856
or so, 57, something like that. 1850s.
Yeah. And?
He was an Epiroti. He made his money in cotton in Egypt. Mm-hmm. And he is the one who funded the restoration of the Panathinaikos Stadio. Mm. The original, where the ancient Athenians did their games.
Jeez, you're good.
Not really.
Go on. Keep on going.
He's just sober.
You drove past it. It's behind the Parliament House. That one that looks like an ancient stadium.
Panathinaikos Stadium.
That's actually an ancient stadium, which was restored. The Kalimarmaro. Its nickname is the Kalimarmaro.
Right. Okay.
No, not the Kalimarmaro. It's the one near it. It's
not the Panayiotis Stadium.
Yes,
that one there. But
and it was restored with Zappas' money.
I've been there. My kids had a sprint race on there.
Well,
I did too.
That's where they did Pan-Hellenic Games, and that's where de Coubertin turned up one year, saw it, and he goes, "Great! Now we're going to do it everywhere." And that's why 1896 they were in that stadium.
Because originally the games were meant to be only in Athens.
Yeah.
And then it was meant to go back and forth. But we got ripped off. Those people eating snails, man.
Don't like the French, I'm taking. I love Paris.
I don't mind the French. I like the south of France because it's all Greek. Yeah. And they play. And here's the thing about The south of France, it's amazing. They speak English.
They acknowledge the Greek.
They acknowledge the Greeks. A lot of the clubs have got the original Greek emblems or colours.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they pay homage to where they come from. They understand the history and the heritage, which is great. They also play rugby league in the south, right? This is a stronghold. So these people,
The
are
Catalan
cultures.
Dragons.
Catalan Dragons, yes.
Catalunya is in Spain, dile trepedi.
No, there's parts of it
They
in
got Catalan in
France.
France as well.
Yeah.
Mix.
Yes.
So
that makes the south of France something really different. I think they should secede from France, and we'll take them as our brothers and sisters.
I'll take it.
There was a guy that tried that with Sicily in the 50s. He got shot.
really,
Salvatore Giuliani, yeah.
You just made that up.
Google it, Salvatore Giuliani.
and what about, say again? Finish the story. What did he do?
He had a secessionist movement in Sicily to make Sicily join Greece.
Oh, really?
To secede from Roman rule and join Athens.
And he got shot.
There you
He
go.
was murdered, yeah.
The shit
There you-
we learn.
There's
on
debate.
this podcast.
There's debate whether he was murdered by the mafia or by the Roman authorities or both.
Oh wow! Okay.
Make
more you
Sicily
know.
great again.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Don't.
Okay, so obviously we've just touched on the history there. There were attempts, or there were games before the 1896, let's say, modern revival of the games.
That's what they are.
Let's talk a little bit about the 1896 Olympics and what that actually meant. How momentous an occasion do you think that was in the scheme of things? Why is it
Huge.
important?
Huge. Not just for Greece, but generally. And very different to what we see today. First of all, there were no national teams. There were only individuals.
Still representing the countries, though.
No.
Because Australia sent...
Australia didn't send anybody.
We had athletes...
Flack played himself, played his own way.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
He travelled there from London.
but he was there. He was there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he won the
first of all, it was in April.
800. He won the 1500, and he got, I think, second in the marathon.
Amazing. Yeah.
Behind Spiros Loulius.
And who? Yes. And there's a street named
Viridion
after him in
Lewis.
Newington, at Homebush Bay, if you ever want to go see his street.
And we've got a statue here at Brighton.
And his
Sands
jersey.
on it.
His
we do.
jersey. That's
Yeah.
Down the
Spiros
road.
Lewis,
There,
yes.
there was a movie made about him, with
Flack or Lewis?
Louis, and he's running in the marathon, and somehow he befriends a dog.
Sounds about right.
And the dog's running with him.
He was a
and then
Voscour, so yeah.
He picks up the dog, and he's like, "Oh, the poor dog's feet are going to get, whatever." And he puts the dog down, and it's like, "Please look after the dog," and he keeps running. That's all I remember of the film.
He
It
ran
wasn't a
in
great
his
film.
fustanella.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
he actually
Yeah.
stopped and had a glass of red wine.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
How's
He was
that
very
for-
aerodynamic,
Yes.
wasn't he, with that fustanella?
Yeah.
Which they didn't show in the
Apparently.
movie. But he was considered the first true legitimate Olympic star. So he was like the Usain Bolts of that era.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And
Everybody
he was
wanted to hang out with him.
peasant
If-
water boy. Used to
Yeah, he was a
carry
water carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, up around Marathon.
Yeah.
He's an Aquarian.
No, I don't know what star sign he was.
And he did
But
it
it,
for a
but, it,
woman.
but it was a national. It did, and it was an international event. You had correspondents from everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
as we
think for
said,
the
you
Greeks-
had Fleck come across from London, originally from Melbourne. His fanella, his jersey, is at the MCG in the museum.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
in Melbourne,
Yeah, fascinating.
donated by his school.
So he actually did it for a woman. He wanted to
Fla-
impress this
Lewis.
girl. Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
Spirit on Lewis. He
Yeah, yeah.
wanted to impress a girl. Thought I'll enter the race, and and he ended up winning the whole thing.
and there was no gold medal.
At the time, no Greeks hadn't won any events.
It's the reef.
From what I was reading, all the Greeks were a bit embarrassed. Like, look, it's our Olympics. We haven't won.
Yeah, we haven't won
We haven't
anything,
come
yeah.
first in anything.
Anything.
And they put all their hopes on Spiridion Lewis. He goes,
And he
a
won.
young shepherd from Greece. And they said,
Yeah.
all the hopes are on him, the whole country. And he just did it for a woman. You wanted to impress this girl. He ended up getting the girl at the end of the day. But
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he
ended up
did.
marrying
Isn't
her.
that
did.
lovely?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Yeah. But if you look
The
at
next
his
Netflix
story,
rom-com.
he was actually born.
Not a bad idea.
Listen
Yeah,
to this,
true.
boys. He was
After
born.
watching Find Me Falling the other day,
That was good.
she's
Here
awesome,
we go.
Stellana. She's
this?
the director, writer, producer of the film Find Me Falling. She's originally from South Africa.
Great
She
movie.
lived in London.
Thanks to
and
you,
Athens.
I saw it.
I'm glad you did. She's a friend of mine. She's a really awesome human being.
The actress or
No, not the actress. The actress is quite sexy, actually.
beautiful.
The director, Stellana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, actress was
I
great.
enjoyed that.
It's really good. I mean, Harry Connick Jr., man, like, how can you not? Like, he's just, it's like, it's.
But it was
sorry, I
typical
shouldn't swear, but
Cypriot.
it's Harry. Yeah.
Yeah, Cypriots. They just got this coolness about
It
it.
was, Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
I can't believe this is what we're talking about. Did you watch Bridgerton, by the way?
Oh, by the way,
What the fuck's that?
I was just going to say,
It's hours of
Tom,
nobility.
I thought we had
fucking.
intellectuals
That's
on
what
the
it is.
episode.
yeah, man. No, but if we can just backtrack, so Stellana kind of based this movie partially on The Gap. So if you remember back in the
Yes.
day,
I got that impression.
Yeah.
So it is connected
So
to
yeah,
that.
so there was a guy who used to actually do that. He used to
The
talk
Angel of the
people
Gap.
out. That's right. And he used to get them to come over, have a tea, coffee, that kind of stuff. And he's talked a lot of people out of suicide. So that's partially.
Man.
And she's only ever visited Australia once. So
The funny thing is, I was sitting there watching that movie with my wife the other night, and I'm like, this is actually really similar to what happened in Bondi, at the Gap there. And she's like, yeah, I heard about that. Anyway, so there is
what's
a
it
direct
called?
connection.
What's the movie called?
Find Me Falling,
And it's on
Netflix.
There you go. Free
There's a
plug.
plug for you. Yeah.
Done. Well done.
Yeah,
Really.
Where were we?
So we're
Now
going back.
contact Netflix.
So we're talking about
Spiro
Lewis. Yeah. So
Yes.
he was born in 1873. So that's 2 years after Greeks got independence, and he died in 1940. So imagine his whole life would have been based around war. So
It was.
that whole era. He would have been what a machine this guy would have been. He would have experienced the War of Independence. The 1922 or World War One, 1922, beginning of World War Two. Mate, this guy his whole life would have been experienced just in war.
Just a few years
Not
before he passed away.
the War of Independence, but certainly the other wars.
Well, 1871 was the day, was the year, but that went on for several years. There was battles here and there.
We had a few. We lost Ipiro. The 1897 one was a bit of a disaster. Yeah, but the first and second
Classic.
Balkan War was quite good. So we had a brief war against. We got pummeled by the Brits in Corfu. There was the Bulgarian incident. There was a few other little things that happened as well too.
So
And,
first Balkan War was...
and there are other shit that happened in Asia.
And he just missed World War II.
Well, he would have been there, 1939 it started, but he
Yeah.
didn't
Not
hit
in Greece.
Not in Greece.
He missed it by a couple of months, several
Lucky
months.
guy.
But not bring it back to the Olympic
First
theme,
World War.
as I think you should. You want me to cut me off, or
No,
No,
go
not
on,
at all.
Get in there.
where was he in 1936 Berlin Olympics? At Berlin.
Oh, it was in
Honorary.
Berlin.
Yeah,
Yeah, they...
Really?
yeah.
Explain the story again.
You're the one who said he was the first Olympic icon.
I said
Correct.
Was
Oh.
Vasily?
that. One of us said
It was
it.
Vasily.
One
It
of
was
us.
Vasily.
Yeah. Billy can have it.
Billy can have it. We
All
might,
right.
There you
we
go,
might as
I'm
well
going to take off one layer now.
Come on, Billy.
we might as well give the Mitilino something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a guest of the Nazi government.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
By then, he was died a few years later, so it was quite elderly.
But he's all around the world. I think
Yeah.
one of the online Greek magazines posted an article on him. And we definitely got a statue here at Brighton.
We do.
There's one in Melbourne, I think, as well. So he's all around the world. So this poor peasant farmer from Greece who won a marathon is now recognised around the world.
Yeah.
So what a story.
1896 Olympics, eh?
Yeah.
Well, one other, sort of fun fact about the 1896 Olympics. So, obviously, where I'm from in Kerkira, the oldest band in Greece, the Philharmonia Kerkiras, which was started by Manzaros, who wrote the music to the Greek national anthem. They actually opened the 1896 Olympics. Playing,
Oh, wow.
They were playing in Athens.
Didn't he write the music for the Olympic hymn?
I can't remember if it was Manzaros or someone, but that band, this is where I'm going with this
Research.
one, because the original Olympic hymn, in its original form with Greek lyrics and in its entirety, was first played at the 1896 Olympics, right? The next time that it was played in its original form like that was in 2000 in Sydney,
George
led
Ellis.
by George Ellis.
There you go.
And
the greatest
thank you for the segue. There's a certain person who will murder me if I don't mention it. I had 3 family members in the choir that sang
really?
it,
Wow.
including my missus.
Really?
Yep, my wife, my sister-in-law, and my father-in-law were all part of that choir.
Unbelievable.
What a great moment in time.
It
The greatest
was.
opening ceremony.
I wouldn't go that far,
Hey.
but it was.
Really?
The Athens.
Look, Sydney was
Sydney.
awesome.
No, this is Sydney
Oh,
2000.
Sydney. Yeah.
Not Athens, you reckon?
I was privileged enough to be at the rehearsal
Yeah, right.
Yeah, me too.
I just
in
look at Sydney.
the stadium,
Yeah, I was there
of the
too.
opening ceremony.
It's our home,
True.
I remember when
Sydney was
when
great.
and when we
Oh, it was
won
really good.
I was in
But
high school.
I
and
can't compare it to Athens.
I
it was-
agree.
Athens,
But for
moved
us,
me in a
if-
big way.
Family connections aside, Athens killed it.
Yeah.
But for us, Sydney became an international city with the Olympic Games. I remember and it was a real turning point. I always felt that there's a lot of multiculturalism stuff, and we still get a lot of new people coming in, but I don't think we were as multicultural in 2000. And I think in certain parts of the city, it was still pretty awkward as well. And then that moment leading into the games, like about 2 or 3 weeks, I remember I was in the city with my girlfriend. Yes, I had a girlfriend back then. And you're hearing all these languages being spoken, and it was just so cool. And it was just, everyone was different. That it was, I'd spent years of just some of the racist shit I'd seen, and all of a sudden you're in this city and it's just so diverse, so multicultural. And Sydney really came alive. Like, Sydney had been, obviously the city, the CBD, there's always stuff going on, unlike today, in terms of the clubs and stuff, right? Sure. But it was party central. It was like Greece.
It happens at every Olympics, though.
Yeah, but for me,
I experienced it in London, in Rio, but
London always has a heartbeat.
For us living here, I admit.
And Athens has got a heartbeat as well too.
Yeah, but as purely as a spectacle, opening ceremony, watching these statues come alive, the detail of it, and
the water.
They had like a lake in the stadium. Yeah. Amazing. For me, that's the best. Again, it could be biased.
Are they still building those stadiums? Are they finished?
Okay. How funny was the beginning of that? The beginning of that. Did you guys see it? The beginning?
It was the best part.
Because Greece copped it the whole time.
Big time.
You guys will never build it in time. This is the first Olympics after September 11. You're going to have terrorist attacks, blah, 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 blah. And then the Greeks just shut up. They said nothing. They delivered the stadium, was done, and to mock everyone, a guy walked out with a hammer and a nail and knocked it, bing, 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 so we're finished, the stadium's done, we can start now.
But the joke's on them, they still haven't built the rest of the stadium.
And then I think on the 10th day or 11th day, they interviewed a couple of cabbies and they're saying, hey, listen, why do you think there's been no terrorist attack? There's been nothing, no danger at all. And the cabbie goes, well, they don't hate us, they hate you.
Best of summer.
How much money were we forced to pay on security, man?
Yeah.
All right. So speaking about cost, and I mean, obviously we mentioned there the cost of security and all that kind of thing. One of the things that we really wanted to discuss today was there's been moves over the last few years. There are groups, there are lobby groups, there are people who have written articles in all sorts of Greek and international papers where they bring up the idea of sending the Olympics back to Greece permanently.
It's a good reason because Brisbane were the only city that bidded for the 2032 Olympics. So the feeling is not many countries are bidding because they're losing money on it. I think that's where the sort of discussion started from. But it's a great segue. So what do you think about that? Who wants to take that one on?
Billy,
of course.
Putting his hand up.
Very respectful.
This is very respectful for Uzo talk.
I gotta remember there's a teacher in the room. So,
actually, true.
Dr. Diamadis in the house,
Yeah. Get a detention.
Gotta show him some respect.
About time.
Look, I'm a catch-22 with the whole keep it in Greece, bring it home kind of thing. I distinctly remember 2004, right? So 2004, every night was incredible. Like you'd go down to Black or wherever you went in Athens, it didn't matter.
So you were there?
I was there, yeah. It was. I've been to 3 Olympics. I think Nick, you've been to 3 as well.
3, yes.
Yeah, I remember the parties every night. But Blacker was bumper to bumper. It was so packed, and the Brazilians were great. I don't think they were all Brazilians anyway, but everyone wanted to be Brazilian. And all the Greeks, everyone was chanting. There's a lot of Aussies, obviously, and there was a real sense of camaraderie. Everyone wanted to talk to everyone. It was fun, and my cousin Costa, who actually literally just tried to call me, and his mates and my same girlfriend as last time, we were all there. It was a lot of fun, but when we went to the actual venues during the day, there's a lot of empty seats, and I felt embarrassed because a lot of the people who joined us were from Australia and other places as well, and it was a case of okay, so we really wanted the games. We wanted to boycott after the Coca-Cola Atlanta games, because they should have been in Greece in 1996. So we've had these games back in Greece. The economy was theoretically still booming. So what was preventing everyone from going? That first week, there was so many empty stadiums. I think it was a real letdown. And I think way too many people wanted to go to the islands.
Yeah. Now there was a reason why.
I've heard something about.
They were still on. They were still working. The holidays weren't on.
It was early August. It was end of July.
From what I read,
early August. Most people take their holidays like a August or onwards.
But this is a once in 108 year
Billy,
event.
They stuffed up. They should have had annual leave or holidays from everyone from the beginning, but they didn't. The second week, all stadiums were packed.
In Sydney, we were still working, but we're still getting out to games. We were able to get out there. And these are Greeks. This is an era of Greece, which was the 2-day working week. I think it's Mitsotakis wants to do the 6-day working week, right?
Well, it's kicked in.
So remember, this is an era where Greece, the businesses worked reasonably hard, but a lot of public servants, there's a lot of time.
What's your point, Billy? So do you think...
My point is, I think we, as Greeks, I think Greeks in general in their own country let themselves down. There were a lot more... Greece had a slightly bigger population. We should have filled those stadiums. We should have done more to do it. To keep the games... So you're saying if
we get them back permanently in Greece,
we've got to show that we love them.
We're not going to fill the stadiums up?
We need to
be able to demonstrate... Is that a good idea? What do you think? Tell us why you think it's a good idea.
So on the one hand, yes, I think it should be in Greece because the original games were in Greece. Mm-hmm. And it's a great way to have one place, as you said, instead of all these cities bidding and... you look at Greece is the classic example, but you look at some of the cities who've had the games, and they're not all like Sydney where they've got a really good master plan. The Olympics that were held in Homebush, East London, those sort of places, it rejuvenated those parts of those cities. They've done really well. So that is a real positive, right? East London, and I was working at the time, that part of East London was a shithole. Westfield's then built, hotels were built, developments. It is an amazing... West Ham play there, I think, these days. Not a great team, but they play there. You go down to Auburn, Newington, and it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful village. That was one of my sort of projects. I was working for council back in those days.
Yeah, that's why you like it.
Yeah, I love it. I love Newington.
He's still promoting his work.
But the whole area...
What was that quote? That's it.
But look at the whole area. It's not a white elephant. Daily Telegraph wanted to tell us, it's a white elephant. Within 10 years, you had down that part of the world, you had all these apartments, you had new buildings, you had corporate offices, you had games being played there, you had football. It is a mecca. It is an entertainment place as well too, and it's left a great legacy. So they're your knock-on effects. You've got other cities that do it. It spreads the love, it spreads opportunities, jobs, slave labour, because a lot of volunteers that work. I've been reminded about that. But on the flip side, as a Greek, I would love to see it in Greece. Maybe we can have a compromise where it's every 8 years it's in Greece, and in between we find another country. If it was held in Greece, we would have to basically ensure that we really get it right, that we've got the right facilities. We are a small country. Or maybe we could do like some of the World Cup biddings where you've got the main parts in Athens, and Delphi and all that. And maybe you can, play rugby league in Brisbane or something.
Gorgeous with the rugby league.
It's got to be an Olympic sport as far as I'm concerned. But you know what I mean?
Never.
Like France has got the windsurfing in...
and surfing.
And surfing in
Tahiti.
Tahiti.
Amazing. 14,000 kilometres away.
So maybe we can look at that as a compromise. So I am in favour of the games coming home permanently, but I wouldn't be upset if we kept them rotating. I don't like the corruption that we saw for so many years in the IOC, and I thought 96 was a classic example of it. How do you not give the games back to Greece? That was a disgraceful moment for the IOC. But the IOC, like FIFA, they like to take a bit of more love.
I'm glad that you mentioned FIFA there, because this is one of those things, with these major sporting events globally now, we've all heard the issues with corruption and things with FIFA. Brazil is a great example of what happened at the World Cup in 2014. You have that stadium in Manaus, for example, where they had to bring all the supplies via a barge to this city in the middle of the jungle, middle of nowhere. They played 3 games there, and then John Oliver's whole thing about that stadium was after the World Cup, it became the world's biggest bird toilet, most expensive.
I love
bird
John
toilet.
Oliver.
Yeah.
We don't want to send the country broke, I hear.
Well, this is the
LA's
thing.
got a good thing.
Tell me.
So LA now, from my understanding, is they're going to do the athletics first in the main stadium.
Yep.
And were you telling me this? Who was telling me this? I thought it was you.
No, it wasn't me.
They're going to actually do the swimming in the actual stadium. They're going to build a temporary swimming pool in a stadium somehow. They got the technology. They're going to have all the athletics first.
That's going to be a fast pool.
Who was telling me? I thought it was you, Tom. It wasn't you.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay, maybe someone fact check me. But LA are planning the next Olympics in 2028. They're going to plan to do the athletics first and then build a pool, 50-metre pool. And the stadium will be all watching it, from
That'd be awesome.
the normal stands. I don't know how they're going to do it.
They did it in the Coliseum.
That's true, actually.
you're
Yeah, they
right.
used to flood it. He's right.
So
They flooded it thousands of years ago.
We've advanced
Rock
since
naval
then.
battle.
Let's drown some Christians today. First.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Look, I think Greece had some stadiums as well, which became derelict, never used them again.
Well, the baseball stadium, for example, we went past that recently in Athens, and it is just... It's a
wreck.
ghost town.
It's
Yeah,
a
wreck.
wreck.
It's
It's a wreck.
ridiculous.
In Diamadis.
Yeah, let's put it to you. So what do you think? You think Greece should get them permanently or not?
The only way it would work for Greece to permanently host the game, let's be blunt, it'll be outside Athens, would be permanent, was by making the rest of the community, the rest of the Olympic community, financial partners in it. So the Olympic Village is not built and maintained by Greece. Each country does its own. You pay for and you manage and you maintain your own part of the Olympic Village.
It's a good concept. I like
And
it.
you pay a share depending on your population, depending on how many athletes you send, blah blah blah. You make a contribution to the maintenance, the initial startup costs are there, but then it's
like
the
having
maintenance.
strata for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Pretty much, because the main reason Brisbane was the only one, countries just are not prepared for the cost. They're not prepared. The Olympics have grown too big, in my opinion.
Okay.
The number of sports are just too many. The demands on the host, and that's why France has got surfing beaches, but they sent it to Tahiti. It's just cheaper.
Also, the waves are pretty amazing.
Amazing.
Tahiti is some of the best surfing on the planet.
I can't believe you boys are agreeing here, Tom. What do you reckon?
Well,
Cotsis
We're not
and-
agreeing.
You're both saying it should be in Greece.
No.
Well,
Vasily did not
With
say
a
that.
caveat.
I'd still be happy for
Yeah.
it to rotate. And I do believe that the master plan that Sydney had Sydney was able to outline to everyone, this is how you run the games. Everything worked well. Everything went smoothly. People were happy. We didn't lose money.
We broke
theoretically,
even.
We broke
at
even.
best.
Yeah. Recycling became a big thing for this city. It just changed. And
We got amazing facilities out
the
there,
post
and we still use them.
Absolutely, and that's the whole thing. The post games master plan was amazing.
Yeah, we got
There
a
are
whole
20,000
city, a whole town out of it.
20,000 people live down in Homebush Bay West.
Yeah.
There are ferries that come in and out. There's buses. There's a train station.
Yeah.
That village is great. If you're ever down there, go check out Newington Village. It's a great place.
Created by Billy.
The only thing that was a disappointment. The only thing that was a disappointment was that
There's
was
a
actually
statue of him there.
Murphy Glenleigh's Village Consortium.
Big statue.
Big statue, big nose. The only thing was disappointment. There was no rugby league at the What is wrong
So
with
what
these
about you,
people?
Tom? What do you think? Do you
What
think
do
we
I
should go back to Greece permanently? Because I've got a question for all of you. After
Look,
this.
I'm one of those people who thinks, I can see the sort of marketing and the branding side of it, right? There's something to be said about, particularly for the athletes. Like if I asked you the question as an athlete, where would you prefer to go to compete? Do you want to go to, and this is nothing against Paris or Beijing or Los Angeles or whatever. What's going to be more special for you? To go to one of those cities and compete, or to go back to where the games actually came from? And the reason why I say that is because 2004, we saw, for example, they moved the shot put to Olympia.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Imagine the opportunity to do something like that. Like that is on a whole other level of special, that sense of occasion. You will never have that again in your life. There's also an opportunity, I think, to say, okay, we've got our athletics events, we've got our track and field events, we've got all this sort of stuff. We are going to also add an open event in Olympia on the original track, and we're going to run the original race.
Really?
And
sprint
there's no
down
medal
the
for it. You're going to get an olive wreath for it, and there's nothing else. So there's all these little things that the specialness of those moments, I think, sort of outweigh the idea of, yes, great, we're sharing the games around, love the concept. In an era where these games are prohibitively expensive to put on, and where countries are thinking twice and three times about bidding for them in the first place because they're not sure whether they can sell the idea to their populace, B, actually utilize the facilities afterwards, I think there's more of an opportunity for Greece to say, these games were culturally and historically ours. Bring them back, and we make it our mission as Greeks to say, we are going to become the world center for sport from now on. So kids all over the world grow up thinking to themselves, I don't want to just compete on the biggest stage, I want to compete in Greece, because that's where the ancient Olympians competed 3,000 years ago. I want to be part of that story on the same, on the same space. So again, I'm not against the games being, being shared around. There's something, absolutely beautiful about celebrating those cultures and, learning about, what every country has to offer. But to your point, earlier, Panayiotis, and Billy, I think you mentioned as well, the cultural games. I think in 1896 there were things like basket weaving in the in the games. There's no reason why, for example, games in Greece couldn't be about, not just about sport, but to bring people together and have a world, kind of a World's Fair type thing, or some kind of a, cultural exchange every 4 years. I think it's far more democratic in that sense. Many people will disagree with me on that, I'm sure. But I think there's an opportunity.
They're all great.
There's no right or wrong
points. No, they're all good. The only thing I could think of is against that is, will they lose their prestige if Greece gets them every year? Will they end up becoming just the Greek Games now? It's not really the world's games. At the moment, every country gets to show their culture and it gets shared around. It's a planet's Olympic Games. Not now.
Would you say the same thing about the Parthenon marbles, though? They should be shared.
Well, you can't ask me, because what was I going to say?
Well, that's the British Museum's argument. Exactly after what you said. What you just said is exactly what the British Museum's arguing, that we are the world's museum.
Greece gets recognised in the Olympics, obviously. I know what you're saying, but
we do have a privileged position in the
Olympics. Did you see the gold medals?
Yes.
So you got the Parthenon and something else from Greece as well.
Yeah. Well, they've got Kalimarmaro in the bottom as well.
The French. They're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I totally agree with you guys, but at the moment, I think the world shares it. Everyone gets value out of it. I feel like the prestige might be lost if Greece just do it every year. Americans, forget it. We'd rather put our athletes here.
The Americans would be the first to appreciate the point that Nico made. Tom, not Nico. That Tom made.
It's a good name, but...
You can edit that bit out.
I'm leaving that in.
The Greek people, they all look the same, man.
Give another Tsipro. Yeah.
Oh, I've only had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you arrived, yeah. What's in the car?
What happens in the car stays in the car. I think
right, so how else would you make it work? If Greece had it every year...
It wouldn't be every year, every 4 years.
Every 4 years. If they had it every Olympics, 4 years... Would it be profitable? Do you think they'd make a profit out of it? And do you think it'd be achievable?
Ooh, Billy's shaking his head.
The first couple would the first one probably not. The second one would break even, but it could only work if everybody financially contributed, which would make it automatically the World's Games.
But why
it's
would,
just hosted
why
in
would
one
another
place.
country contribute?
Why?
Yeah.
First of all, it saves us.
Greece will benefit, but what would Australia say? Here, Greece have.
So what about Zambia today? Right? Do you think they would have contributed?
What about poor countries?
Wouldn't it save?
Uvalatu.
You mean Tuvalu?
Is that a country?
You mean Tuvalu?
Tuvalu.
.tv.
Nice part of the world.
You know what they call a lot of people from Tuvalu?
Oh God.
Tuvla.
Moving right along. So who's sponsored today?
Oh dear.
I think we need to pass you one of these nice little bottles.
That's not nice. I wasn't
What do you want?
What were you going to say then? You have to yell us.
I took my punchline. That was good.
I don't know. Not to discredit not to discredit Cyprus, but my Cypriot friends are a little bit tight, like Ethereans. So would they contribute to the Olympic Games?
If they don't, they're not welcome.
All right. Well, what about
when you
all the neighbours who hate Greece? Would they be contributing?
If they don't, they're not welcome. Well, they're not welcome anyway, but anyway.
Does anyone contribute today? No one.
Yes. How do you think the IOC functions? Every National Olympic Federation pays money to...
It's a membership fee, right?
It's a membership fee for the International
So every
Olympic
country
Committee.
pays a fee.
Yeah, but the fee's quite low. So basically, the fee's quite low.
But there is a fee.
You get a little key card, membership card. You get a 10.
Enter the gym in 24 hours.
You get a T-shirt. No, but it's basically the rights. So all the broadcast rights, and that generates something like about 60 or 70%. Then you've got the sponsorship as well, which takes in a fair bit as well too. They're your two biggest revenue earners. And also the bribery that might happen as well too. So they're your three streams of it, three main streams of income.
Yes.
The money from membership is quite low.
What about ticket sales at events?
It's split. So I don't know exactly what the split is, but the host country takes, if not the lion's share, they take it all because they're the ones putting on. They're the ones really with the financial burden.
So it's not like the World Cup where FIFA takes all the money. Sorry. Nick.
No, it's just, man, FIFA.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no. Should have been in Australia.
So that's the only way they make money. So
and Ronaldo should have scored some goals in the last two tournaments.
We'll finish off with United, right? You can sing the song. We'll give you some airtime.
No, you won't.
So just quick question.
How do they make money? So revenue is through sponsorship, ticket sales, IOC will get
ticket sales. We don't know exactly what they get. It'd be quite.
Yeah, but if Greece get it,
if Greece were to get
then
it,
if they want to break even,
Greece is a country. Yes, sorry, I thought you meant in terms of the IOC. Yeah, I mean it's Greece's game, so they'd be getting ticket sales, merchandise, percentage of broadcast revenue as well too.
Because they wouldn't have to build the stadiums every year. We've got facilities.
We've still got to build the stadiums.
Haven't we got some already?
No, Greece has got a couple of, and there's one more coming up now. So Hagia Sophia is Stadium of the Europe Stadium of the Year. You went, didn't you?
I didn't go.
How did you not go and pray at Hagia Sophia? I mean,
it is a beautiful stadium. Let's be honest.
Okay, so we're sort of all in.
But we have the best stadium in Europe.
Hagia Sophia.
No,
here we go.
It's not. No, it's not Mytilene Stadium.
Something in Lesbos.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a Kalimarmaro Stadium. It's the it's the 1896.
The only entirely marble stadium in the world.
It fits 60,000 people. I was there for the marathon. The finish there was friggin' awesome.
60,000 in that thing. Yep. It's not that big.
No, it fits. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
it feels like it's not even complete.
Not everyone's as chubby as Panayiotis
and
I. You can fit people in.
I can. 60,000.
60,000.
So we fit, 45,000 at our Sydney Football Stadium?
Yes.
But they're
bigger
seats.
than that.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's no individual seats in this place. It's like, bench seating. So, it'd be like the 1965 grand final. There's people hanging off the roof.
And sitting on your lap.
Yeah. See, rugby league should be in the Olympics.
I agree with you.
But that stadium holds so much history. It's where it all began.
Definitely.
We have the Olympics because of that stadium, and it's a beautiful stadium. There's a great.
We saw Liam that walked in.
Yep.
He beat his brother in that stadium. My two boys had a sprint race.
Oh, right.
In that stadium.
That's awesome.
And we've got a video of it, and Liam reminds him all the time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The younger brother beat the older brother.
Bravo.
Yeah.
I did some laps there in 2002 when you could actually just walk in.
Walk.
No, running.
You ran?
Yeah, I used to be a runner.
Good on you, mate.
Yeah, just don't tell the police I'm here tonight, but I used to run from the police. Yeah.
Well, when I first went, so I went and did the run when I was about, 5-6 years old or something like that. The next time we went there, I was with some mates from high school, 9 mates from high school, in fact. And I think it was 2007, so they'd already shut it all off. You couldn't just walk in the way you used to. And my mate, who's actually a sprinter, he's won...
nice.
He won, which gift? One of the gifts here. He won
Botany gift. Is it the Botany gift?
Stall gift is the big one.
Anyway, he's won that one, Ed Ware. Anyway. He jumped the fence and did the full...
Bravo, good on him. No, good on him, man.
And evaded security.
Classic.
You can go on it. Yeah. Anyone can walk in there now. You pay a fee, and it's part of the tour.
Yeah.
You used to be able to just walk in and out.
Easily. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful spot. There used to be a nice little cafe right next to the stadium, Banana Moon. Oh, man, we used to just go, hang out. You'd feel the stadium. People would come past and take pictures. It was bright. It was just nice part of Athens, nice part of the world. You can really feel that that history. There was a great documentary about it was a basketball documentary. The final was held at this stadium. It was 1960. It was during the era of the junta. It would have been 1968, 1969. Yep. I don't know if you saw the documentary, but it's just and they interview all the players, and I think were playing a team from Romania, it might have been, in the final. And it's the first time that Greece has won like a basketball or a football title or whatever. It was chaos. And there's a couple of little stories interwoven. You've not come across
basketball's another level in Greece.
Well, you should see this doco,
It is
man.
the national sport.
Yeah.
The stadium actually
It's overtaken
bounces.
football.
Have you seen at the beginning
It was
of
the stall gift.
It was the stall gift.
Stall gift?
He won that.
It's very prestigious.
It is.
2021.
Yeah.
It's been going for over 100 years.
Yeah, man.
Well, my mate who was in my year at high school,
Did he win it?
he won it.
Yeah,
really.
that's
He won
awesome.
it. Ed Ware.
Really got to be gifted to
2021.
win
Because
that.
Kathy Freeman ran it. She won it.
Well,
A couple of Australian sprinters won it.
shout out
Matt
to
Shervington.
Ed Ware.
Shervington won it.
Fantastic. So yeah, he was the one that jumped the fence at Marmaro.
So I'll say you,
And ran
mate,
the whole thing.
athletes would love to, if you're an athlete, you'd love to get back to Greece and compete. Run the
For
marathon.
me, the most important one, the original marathon route. I mean, even
Imagine
today,
doing
every
that.
November, they still run it.
Even though
they
it's
call it
more
the
than
classic.
42 kilometres.
It's 42.7.
I know, the original run that Philippides did was more than the marathon. Because he ran
Not by much.
to Sparta, then he ran back
That
to
wasn't
Athens.
it. We're talking about just for a marathon after the
Yeah, I
battle
agree.
back.
And he was wearing his hoplite armour.
Yeah.
And what they do for, as you said, back
after
to,
he'd done like another marathon before.
to the one to Sparta, that they still do that, the Spartathlon.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just under 300 kilometres.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah, and then back again. But these were professional runners. That's what they did.
And can I just circle back to
Here we
my
go.
bullshit story?
Sit to Weepers.
So, the stadium capacity in 1896 for the 1896 Olympics was 80,000. Currently fits 45,000. The record attendance was 80,000. It was AEK Athens
Holy crap.
versus Slavia Prague. Prague?
Prague.
Wow.
1968.
Holy
So it was 68. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's quite
Got to
right,
see this
though.
documentary. It's amazing.
And of course, it's AEK.
But he's quite right, though. You look at it, it really doesn't seem like
No.
it would hold that many people.
But people were skinnier back then.
They were. You just go to you go to the ancient.
Nah.
You go to the ancient stadiums and you can the ancient theatres.
Yeah.
And the grooves for your butt are on the,
That's true, actually, yeah.
and you can see from the butt size that έχουμε παχύνει.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't that big. Probably going off topic. When you see the ancient Greek helmets, you think, how does that fit on someone's head? They weren't that
They
big.
were small.
No, the average was 5 foot.
Yeah.
We look at we know this from the skeletons.
Yeah.
I'd be a giant by the day, by the standards of the day, and I'm tiny.
They had
What about Billy?
that's
The Olympian god here.
Yeah, Greek god.
Just call me Buddha.
Olympios Theos.
But look, they didn't have big egos back then, so those helmets
Men
were
are
really
less.
small.
didn't have big egos.
I mean, look at Panayiotis.
I've got a big ego. What are you talking about?
All right, so where did we land? I mean,
With the topic or the point about will it be the World's Games? This is where the idea of the Olympic truce really could make it the World's Games,
okay.
where no matter what conflict it is, we all agree that for that 2 weeks, that 3 weeks, including travel time,
Beautiful.
would cease.
And maybe some rehearsals as well, so we can
The
stretch it out.
Greek government's been trying to push that for a long time, not very successfully, but there was an announcement yesterday by the Patriarch, who's coming in October, saying, guys, this is a way to not only bring peace to the world, but more practical. That could give you a window to just sit down and talk to each other, just stop shooting each other for a few days while the games are on, and use that stop shooting to just talk to each other and see if you can sort things out.
So let's just focus on that for a second, because the Olympic truce, just reiterate, what is it? Because
The Olympic truce during the ancient Olympic Games for 1 month, because of travel times, all fighting was supposed to cease.
yes.
It was actually considered sacrilege
Yeah.
to be engaged in warfare during the time of the Olympic truce.
Yep. Fantastic.
God's
And
will.
we've got to remember, the ancient Olympic Games went for 1,000 years, 776 to 396 AD.
Yep.
So it's a full-on 1,000 years. We're talking about 120,
Yeah.
almost 130 years now. They went for 10 centuries.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if we did actually observe it.
So
It'd be
this,
awesome.
But
this
the good
is
thing
this
is
is
they
the
did
best.
stop fighting.
They
I know
did,
what
they
you
actually-
said.
because it was religious.
Spartans and Athenians used to fight all the time.
The
they hated
Peloponnesian
each
War
other,
went for
but
20 years.
Yeah, so they
30
would
years.
stop fighting.
Yeah, they did.
literally put your arms down. You had to travel with no weapons. Is that what it was?
There was a very practical reason, because the best athletes were often the best soldiers. So they go, we're not going to go to battle without our best warriors. They're off running at the game. So we'll call it a truce.
Was it Philip or Alexander the Great?
Alexander.
Alexander was
No, it was
born
Philip.
on the day that Philip's chariot won the 4-horse chariot
That's
race.
right. So
But
Philip
Alex won the foot race.
Later
Nah.
on. No, it was Alexander the First. It wasn't the third.
No, it wasn't him. Well, not
Alexander
the
the Third never went to the games, as far as I know. I could be wrong.
What you talking about, Willis?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Alex the G.
I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was Alex the G's great grandfather.
I thought it was the story that
Alex
everyone
won.
was too scared of Alexander the Great, so they let him win.
I am consulting the Oracle.
Call Paul Cartledge.
We're gonna,
I wish.
We
Are we
will
gonna-
soon.
I wish I had his
we're gonna
number.
offer up a chicken or
We
something.
do. We were going to call
We've
him
got
soon.
So can I just go back to how good
what
these
you were gonna
bottles
say.
are? They're amazing. Where are they made again?
These bottles. So,
Yes.
yeah, Nick, tell us where these ones are from.
This one's from Thessaly, I think. Vorovuli.
I'll be there in 2
We did
weeks.
try that, but that's from Crete.
It's a classico.
So
That's
35N
Greece.
is the longitude
Bravo.
of it goes right through Crete. 35N. So read what do you?
Panayiotis
what there?
got
Telling you, it was
something.
Alexander won.
Can you read it? Read it out again.
Tell us what you found there.
What did you find?
He never competed because
Alex the G, right?
Alex the Great. Yes,
Yeah, because
Alex,
he was only
Alex
what,
the
20
Third.
and then he left.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as he became king, he was off.
Yeah, he had to control
He
the
was
rest
off.
of Greece.
The Alexander who did compete at the games was Alexander the First.
which was his grandfather. So
Grandfather.
Philip's side or his mum's side?
No, Philip's
Philippos.
side. Philip's side.
So, oh wow. So Philip's dad won. What did he win a medal in?
I think the sprint. Because back then I think there was only one race back
Sprint.
then.
Shit. Okay. And then Philip of Macedon won the chariot race.
Well, his driver did. He wasn't. He owned the horses. He wasn't actually there.
Ah, so he wasn't on there.
He wasn't on there. Nah.
That's not a good story.
Sorry, yeah,
It's like far lap, right? Let's just.
Yeah, well,
But
it's
it's an interesting point.
But,
because
but it was the day that Alexander was born. Is the
Yeah.
day that he won the race.
But how good is it people at that level can compete with the common man as well?
that's what I was going to say. The whole
That
point
was
is that
one of the
a
points.
king
Yeah.
could race against a potter.
And just as a side point, only Greeks were allowed to compete.
Until the Roman
those games.
conquest, yes.
Just making that point. Going back to what Dr. Diamadis was saying about the truce, I think that's probably potentially the greatest thing that these modern games can actually do. There are 35 conflicts around the world right now.
Yes.
You imagine at that float. You imagine if you put some Russians and Ukrainians together on the barge, or either they'd kill each other or they'd be,
they
drinking
wouldn't.
vodka. You put some Israelis and Palestinians together, they can make some falafel. They can hang out. You know what I mean? Try and do so. That would just be the most important and spectacular part of any games. If we can get that going, I don't care where it's held. I don't care if it's held in Jerusalem or if it's held in Athens or it's held in friggin' Beijing. I don't
Have you
care.
ever been to Jerusalem?
Yes. Beautiful city.
Where are you going to put it?
All four. All four parts of it.
Where are you going to
Just
put
outside between
Between what?
Jerusalem and the West Bank.
Didn't you
We
get,
can put some stadiums.
it? Out near.
There's some
out,
shooting
out,
ranges.
didn't you get
Out,
kidnapped?
out in the desert.
I carjacked.
You got carjacked. But funny you say that. You know,
Jerusalem's built on hills, man. Where are you going to put it all?
1956,
You
the
do archery
Olympics.
from there.
What about 1956? The Olympics came to Melbourne.
Yep.
And what happened in the world history in 1956? Russia invaded Hungary.
Yeah,
The water polo match. There was a water
the
polo
footage
match.
of that is on
Oh
YouTube.
my
It's
God.
amazing.
They call that the bloodbath because literally the water turned red.
Yeah, there's literally blood in the water.
Russia took on Hungary
Soviet
in the
Union.
water polo, or Soviet Union.
Soviet
It
Union.
was literally a punch-up brawl in the ocean, in the water. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
that's crazy.
But that's why maybe it won't work. I don't know. If we try and have peace, how would
Look, if the Greeks-
Palestinians and Israelis go if they had to compete
But
against
something
each
has
other?
to be done, man. If the Greeks could get the Spartans and the Athenians hated each other more than the Palestinians and
Oh
the
yeah,
Israelis.
That's
big
right.
time.
Yeah.
And
So
they
if
were able
go-
to
yeah,
do a
okay.
bit of kumbaya. So,
That's a great.
so I
phrase.
think it's something that we really need to make compulsory. It's
The
pathetic
only
that
way
it
it can
hasn't been.
become compulsory is if the participants actually do it. All right, πρέπει να υπάρχει θέληση. If there's no willpower, then it's going to remain a kumbaya idea, and it's only going to happen if some of the big boys actually say, "Yep, okay, Moscow, Washington,
But you
Paris,
imagine,
some of these big countries actually say, yeah, we're going to pressure our minions.
but you imagine if they did it though. You imagine
It'd be awesome. It'd be
if we had
amazing.
Ethiopians talking to their neighbour Eritrea. You had, Putin and freaking Zelensky sitting down and having vodka together. Like, okay, it's not going to happen, but maybe
Why
they're
not?
athletes. Come on, man. One
not?
wrestles
No,
bears
seriously.
and the other one dances.
Not very well either.
Oh, look, if someone can pull
I thought he was a
that
great
off.
dancer, man.
He's a better comedian than
Good
a
comedian
dancer.
as well too. I thought it's quite good. I like Zelensky. He's pretty good.
I think he should have stuck to comedy, but that's just a different story.
Really?
I think he should have stuck
I think
to
he's been a
comedy.
great
Was he
president.
funny? I don't know. I've never seen any of his comedy shows.
I don't think he's funny at all. Like I saw some of the funny, like the footage from the comedian stuff, the comedian era. I think you look at him and he's got the war going on. It's like, yeah.
So if we come into an agreement, it sounds like we already have all four. We all agree.
Yeah,
Again,
pretty
maybe
much.
we're a bit biased. Greece should have it, and they're going to do a successful game. They're going to make a profit. Have we covered everything else?
I would only support it going to Greece if Yanina hosts the rowing permanently. That's it.
The
I
rowing
would not be
permanently.
opposed to that.
The rowing's going to be permanently say Yanina. That's it.
Have we
That-
got
that's
some,
a deal breaker.
Beautiful. That would be beautiful.
have we got some phone a friend options, like some Italians, Brazilians? We can just call us their opinion.
Why? You're sort of
Have you
part
got someone?
Brazilian now, aren't you?
You've been there enough.
You're the Greek Brazilian. Oi tudo bom? No, oi tudo bem?
No fala português.
Oh, really?
Mi nombre é Brad Pitt.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I guess we're kind of in agreement, but I think the big thing to take out of this is that thing about the Olympic truce, because that's something aside from the sport, aside from all of the good things that that come out of the Olympics, that's something that can really make a difference today.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And look, the Olympics, just to go off tangent a little bit, I've felt that some of the best sporting moments, apart from Canterbury Bulldogs,
Here we go.
Manchester United, Tonga winning some rugby league games, apart from
Parley with the rugby.
Catalan
Are you
Dragons won the
Tongan
other
now?
day.
What's going on?
I like the smaller teams. I love watching them. They're
He
all-
loves the
It's
underdogs, didn't I,
He
Paul?
can pass as a Tongan.
I know.
As if they'd have him.
They pull me into the Saturday church all the time. Well, I was in Tonga. No one could. I was like part of the furniture.
Nice part of the world.
But how many great moments, man? Like Kieran Perkins from lane 8, winning. We talked about Kathy Freeman, Duncan Armstrong at the Seoul Olympics, and everyone, all the Koreans, they loved him. This guy, unheard of. He just came in and did that some
Because
steroid
he got
race.
sick. Kieran Perkins was sick, so he was the hot favourite.
And he was
Somehow he
slow.
had a virus, but he didn't. He's that healthy. He didn't realise he had a virus, and somehow he just snuck into the final in lane 8.
Yeah.
And by the time that came around, he was actually quite healthy, and he fucking smoked it from lane 8. Killed everyone.
How good was it? And Thorpe, Michael Phelps, all those kind of, Susie O'Neill over the years. There's been so many great moments,
It's quite a end. So what?
Yeah. Too many sports, as you pointed out earlier.
Okay.
Come on, it's just...
I gotta ask.
What are they up to now?
I can't-
35 different sports?
It's crazy,
Okay,
man.
I have to ask the question now.
Ella.
You gentlemen are now the heads of the IOC.
God help them.
You can you can get rid of 2 sports. Go for it. What are you getting rid of?
Synchronised swimming,
Yes.
gone.
Really?
Gone.
Okay.
And strip poker, it's gone. Oh, no, hold on, that's in the Athletes Village.
I'd be voting to keep that one in.
I'd get rid of something
Don't
like
laugh.
tennis.
I was in the village in Rio. I walked around with 10,000 of the world's best athletes. It was one of my highlights. But there was a couple that walk around. It was literally, remember the old cinemas where they'd walk down with a sort of a box in front of them and selling candy?
Oh, no.
They had that with, and I'm not joking, condoms. They were handing them out to all the athletes. And
They've raised the quota in Paris, actually. I think
and when I
everyone
was
gets
walking,
like 40.
and I'm not joking, I would see, literally in the village, you're walking around, you'd see them tied up and flung out the window. They were everywhere.
Did you take any?
Mate, it was like, oh, fuck, what's all this shit? It was everywhere. So it is a thing.
Flung
This
out the
is
window.
the
Come
most
on.
virile people on the planet.
I can vouch for it now. It does happen. Good podcast, Liam.
So, yeah, that'd be the 2 sports for me.
So synchronized swimming
And tennis.
tennis. Okay.
Get rid of it.
Very good.
Tennis.
Panayiotis.
And I play tennis twice a week, so...
Yeah, okay.
Panayiotis. You're the president of the IOC.
I have to agree with the controlled drowning. My second one would be the one that's just starting now. This breakdancing business. That's an art. That's an art. That's not a sport. If you want to have that, it goes in the cultural Olympics.
Yeah, man, put it in the cultural dancing Olympics. Or
have a separate Olympics
breakdancing
for culture. It's introduced now. Sto Parisi.
Didn't they bring in the skateboarding last time?
Did you see them last night?
Yeah,
they're serious athletes. They're not mucking around.
Yeah, they're young kids. Like
and they won't put rugby league in. Come on.
We had Chloe. What's her name?
Yeah, Chloe something or other.
Yeah,
She was great.
No idea.
Rugby league for
but
Cronulla
these
Sharks.
Bali rugby league.
We mentioned rugby league a lot on this podcast.
Can we? Not when I was here, thank God.
It's Billy's influence.
Can I just say how
It's
good
thugby.
English Super League is?
There's rugby and there's thugby.
Okay, we've got your two. Nicholas, President of the IOC, the Honourable. What are you getting rid of?
Get rid of? Yeah, look, it's a tough one.
Here we go, fence sitter.
I don't know. Look, I was going to say things like golf.
Oh my
I
God.
forgot about golf.
Golf, it's like
Keep the breakdancing, get rid of the golf.
I think we see too much.
Get rid of it.
Those sports where they make a fortune out of it. For me, the Olympics is about these minnow sports, these traditional sports.
Yeah.
These new age, breakdancing. I haven't seen it. I don't know what it is, but
I'm going to hold judgment on that one.
It was a great
'cause I
film,
haven't seen it yet.
1984, breakdance. Got to watch it if you've never seen it.
so what you get
it's
is it
music
like
and dance.
Is it like gymnastics? You get points for certain moves.
I have no idea how it's going
This
to.
guy's spinning on his head. Fuck, 10 out of 10.
There's two guys on a mat, and they basically.
I love the gymnastics.
Yeah.
But one thing I would bring back from the ancient games
Here we go.
is the punishment for cheating, for getting caught cheating. Not for cheating, for getting caught cheating.
What's that? What's the punishment?
Oh, you pay a fine.
What's the fine?
Oh, money. You pay money.
Oh, okay.
And the money is used to build a statue of you.
Of you?
Mm-hmm.
Of
So
Panayiotis?
the cheater has to pay for his own statue.
The cheater pays for his own statue. Wait,
What's
here
wrong
comes.
with that?
Here comes. And the inscription underneath is, I got caught cheating and this is what I did. And guess where the statue goes?
Where?
Outside the Olympic Stadium. You can still go there. The bases, the statues are long gone, but the bases are still there.
Really?
And they still say, I bribed a judge. I drugged another athlete.
Didn't know this.
Imagine if we did that now.
There'd be no room to get into the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like my drug cheats. I remember that Ben Johnson and Busselin.
No, these guys were
Oh.
drugged in the ancient games. They drugged
But
somebody
they all
else.
got
Yeah.
caught. These guys all got caught.
Yeah.
Did Marion Jones get caught as well?
No, but she died. No, yes, Marion Jones. She got
The
fined.
Jamaican.
Florence Griffith
Yes.
Joyner died.
That's right.
37 heart
yes.
Did she?
attack. Yeah.
Marion Jones. Oh my God, man. What a tragedy. I saw her interview a few years later. Like
They all get caught. 'Cause
No,
they're
they
all-
don't. Most of them don't get
that
caught.
was
Only the
that
dumb
was
ones
on
get
the
caught.
Balco. Her husband was CJ.
Dennis didn't
Bruton.
get caught. He just got into a car.
That was just an accident,
He never got
man.
caught.
That's how Greeks get out
was
of
just
it.
an accident.
The dumb ones get caught.
But that
Exactly.
that race, that 100-meter race in 1988, like that was just. I remember everyone, my whole street, we were all waiting in anticipation. It was the biggest thing, we were like 10, 11-year-old kids. It was just wow, these guys, it was bang, it was done in an instant. Then we all go outside and we're on the street. Then we race like with Ben Johnson. It was such a great moment. And then to see that this, as a kid, that this guy was on steroids. It was totally unbelievable. It was that was a real letdown.
What's that concept that they're about to release where you can take steroids?
So a new set of games where
What's it called?
doping is
It's
basically allowed.
Is it Magnuson? One of the Australian swimmers is going to be in it. They only got a certain amount of events. I think it's like a 100-metre sprint, 50-metre swim. It's going to go for a day. There's blue ribbon events.
And they're
you can
juiced up to the
and
eyeballs.
you can take steroids.
What's the point?
To see, and if you break a world record, I think you get $1 million US.
It's like the Everest.
Okay.
I'm in.
Yeah.
So
That's all about the illegal betting markets and the merchandising.
Probably.
Right. It's all about. Yeah, that's not sport. That's Diamadis.
I love that. You love that word, Nick.
Cyclomatis. It's my favourite.
It just summarizes all the concept of stuff that is crap. Just in one beautiful word.
Someone said it on an early episode of this podcast, and he was pissing himself laughing for 5 minutes under his breath.
It's not that funny.
It is. It's very funny. I'm trying to find what these bloody games are called. Does anyone know?
Good luck.
The dope.
Is it those
the doping
guys?
games.
Is it those guys who do the pranks?
No, James
Brentford.
Magnusson's.
This is a legit thing.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I just can't believe it's actually
been
going to
on a few
happen.
podcasts now.
Well, Juan Antonio Samaranch, the former
The
head
first
of the IOC,
one, yep.
he'd actually come out and said that he was okay with the cons. We'll just let him do it.
Did I tell you
If
the
they want to
story how
poison
I nearly
themselves, they can.
lost the Olympics for Sydney? Did I tell you that story?
Oh, here we go.
I'll go for it. Is this legit?
Yeah, it is legit. 100% true story.
He's Nipiroti, of course.
Here's a scoop for you.
I was working at the Sheraton of the Park. I think it was like 18 or 19. Just left high school. I think I was 19. First year out of high school. And I remember we had a school reunion. So I caught up with all my mates. We were all drinking shots. And I think we started with beer. Then we had the liqueur shots. And some guys were smoking. I don't smoke, but I had a puff of a cigarette. Made me feel really sick. Long story short, ended up getting home really late. And my alarm goes off at, say, 4 a.m. to get up to go to work. I got home, sat on my bed, my alarm clock went off. So I've had no sleep. It was a Saturday night. Sunday morning, somehow I showered up. You know, when you're 19, you're invincible. So rocked in, no sleep, stinking like alcohol. Stomach was churning because I had mixed all my drinks. Anyway, so get to the hotel, and the front office manager comes out and he goes, "The concierge is running late. Do you mind looking after the front drive?" This is at the Sheraton of the Park. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? I go, and I thought, I'm not in the mood for this, but anyway, I'm looking over, I'm hanging onto the doors, and I see the beautiful Hyde Park, the waterfall, the water's sparkling, and no one on the road. Anyway, 2 cars pull in, SYD bid with the number plates, and the first one out was Rod McKeoch, his name is. And this is where, I don't know, a bit of context, this is where Sydney and Beijing were neck and neck. Everyone thought Beijing were the favourites, they were going to get it. They were coming around and they were checking all the hotel facilities. And there's Nick hanging onto the door, Sheraton on the Park, 1,000 beers and shots in his stomach. Doesn't smoke, had smoke in there. Nightclubs were fully smoked out. Anyway, Rod McKeoch comes out and he looks and he goes, "What are you doing? Grab the door." And I'm like, fuck. So I don't know if you guys know Sheraton on the Park. There's about at least 8 steps. I leaped those 8 steps in one go, hang on to the rail, bang, jumped in, opened the door, and I said, and all I remember was this nice Italian leather shoe pop out. Nice suit. All I could see was a leg right angle and a shoe. And I felt this spew on my stomach. Came up. I'm not joking. Around my stomach. Oh, fuck. And it came up in my mouth now. And a little bit come down, a little bit on my lip. I thought, fuck, what do we do? Do I just chunder? And I had images of just throwing up all over this guy's leg. But what I did, true spirit, I swallowed it.
Oh, you're a
swallowed it, and he came out and it was Juan Antonio Samaranch's leg.
Geez.
And I said to him, "Welcome to Sydney." And then he walked in, and then I went behind the cars. Out there's another entrance back to the hotel.
The service
bathroom,
entrance.
toilet, bang, about 3-4 big chunks of spew with chicken wings and everything in it. Whatever I had that night, it was Anyway, the funny thing was, I came out of the bathroom, and then everyone was there, fucking cameras, hotel managers, and they're all coming up to me. "Good on you, Nick. Thanks. Good job." Rod McKeoch came up to me, shook my hand, and he goes, "Well done. You greeted him. You opened the door. You smiled." I go, "Mate, little did you guys know." And I told everyone that story, all my workmates, and not the managers, but all my bellhop mates. And I go, "What? You could have lost the Olympics for Sydney." I go, "Imagine that. You front page, Billboard loses Olympics for Sydney. There's a photo of me on there. Welcome to Sydney."
Looking like Eddie Murphy.
Welcome to Sydney. All over his leg.
There is nothing more Australian than that story.
So, boys, you're welcome. I did it for Sydney.
That is the most Australian story. And on that bombshell.
So, Sydney, you don't realise how close we got to losing the Olympics.
We never would have had Kathy Freeman win that race.
No.
The cauldron would never have gotten stuck.
And that is a true
Marion
story,
Jones wouldn't have won
boys.
3 gold.
Yeah.
Get daddies.
Just think, if he had blown chunks on Juan Antonio's leg, none of that would have happened.
Nothing. Welcome to Sydney.
Oh dear, gentlemen, this has been an enlightening conversation. It's been an enlightening conversation. We've heard a lot of different views, many bias, Many subjective. Let us know what you guys think, though. I mean, ouzotalk@outlook.com is the email, obviously, and get in touch with us. Send us messages on social media. Should the games go back to Greece permanently? You've heard our opinions on it. You've heard the boys' opinions on it. There's no right or wrong.
The Ouzo Talk
response.
Committee.
The Ouzo Talk Committee
has spoken.
We have. Billy? Yes?
So I've got a question. If it is Ouzo Talk, but you're being sponsored by Tsipuro, are you going to change the name?
Yeah, we've had this discussion before. It kind of doesn't have the same ring, does
We
it?
always default back to Ouzo.
Don't
We do.
blaspheme.
Yeah. Come summer,
Come
we go
summer,
back to
yeah.
Ouzo. Winter, it's Tsipro.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, who was your wonderful sponsor today?
The Greek Providore.
Greek Providore and KST Buses.
Of course.
Good old Georgie
Great
boy.
reputation, lovely people.
That's right, they are. So they've done a great job. Boys, it's been a pleasure. It's been great.
It has.
Fun as always.
Good chat. It was very amicable. It was funny. Good job, Billy. You're very humorous, mate. You're a funny guy.
We've got good people, mate. We've got good people. This is a good little panel here. We've also got our panel of Remalia for the Ouzo Talk.
We've got the drinking panel and
Yeah,
we've got
the
the
drinking panel.
intellects.
Yeah, this is the intellect panel.
I don't know if Panayiotis and I would. I don't want to.
We're intellects.
Yeah.
We thought you were.
Well, actually, no, Panayiotis qualifies.
You've gone
Yeah,
down
I
a few
do.
notches now.
You got a DR.
Panayiotis carrying all of us.
The DR just means I'm a masochist.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of the Olympics, guys. Again, enjoy the Greek cultural heritage that is the Olympic Games. Be proud of it. ouzotalk@outlook.com is the email. Follow us on social media @ouzotalk and @ouzo_talk and on YouTube. Nick Athanasiou, Billy Cotsis, Panayiotis Diamadis, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Aussie. Oi.
Oi, oi, oi.
That's the worst. See you, boys.
Must
Thank you,
have
everyone.
See ya.
Ακολουθήστε μας στο Soundees, στο Spotify, στο Apple Podcasts και στο Google Podcasts.